Welcome to another edition of Racin' It Out. I'm Caitlin. He's Todd. I think we're officially just in race season at this point. I'm feeling the grind.
Full on race season. That's the best part. You got stuff going on every weekend. You're at a different track. There's been some travel. It's the grind we've talked about previously that we're embracing and enjoying. Sure, you know what? It's a little taxing sometimes. You have some long days. You have flight delays like I had going
don't talk to me about flight delays.
Well, but it happens. You can either freak out about it and get angry and upset, or it's just, you know what, there's some things that you don't have control over and you just have to navigate your way through. And well, we were late leaving for the race this past weekend at the Autodrome Chaudiere. It's like, there's nothing we can do. We're just going to get there later. So
didn't Adam get there like late on day of?
Yeah, they were I went the night before, of course, and some of the other guys came in first thing in the morning and their flight was, I think, 90 minutes late, but they knew about it the night before. This is still okay. There's still some difficulties getting crews and stuff like that. So, it works out.
We'll see how my flight to leave for Newfoundland a week today.
There you go. Yeah, looking forward to that. It's going to be a fun event as it was last year. Hope the weather's good. There's more stuff going on downtown. They have more activities, concerts and stuff planned in St. John. And that's downtown. That's awesome. I think it's great. So I really am happy to see and hear that the city and the province are embracing it. I'm looking forward to getting back and exploring and enjoying a couple more days on the East Coast. It'll be fun.
My whole family's from the East Coast, so every time I get the chance to go to, and Newfoundland was definitely a different experience. It's like, it's different, but it's like every time I get to go to the East Coast and see the ocean and just, I always say it's breathing in fresh air.
It is. Because
it's different than Ontario. Even if you're out in the middle of nowhere up in Algonquin Park or the Muskokas, it is different.
No question. So, it is. And I find that if you're staring at water, lake, river, pond, almost doesn't really matter. I find it really calming and soothing and relaxing. So to be, right down by the harbor, you're close. It's just it's really
also
good.
Heard that it's unseasonably cold this time of year, so maybe we'll get to see icebergs.
I hope so. I hope so. That would be really cool.
I'd be so excited.
I'd be very jazzed about seeing icebergs. That would be, on fingers crossed. I don't know if it'll happen or not, but it would be
I was told
that would be a nice treat.
I was told to pack my parka for the weekend. So
really, like it's been that cold?
Yeah, not like snow cold, but like if we
Close
end up
enough.
racing at night, it's like
I
was told to pack my parka, so I guess I'm gonna have to go find it.
I'm making a note to bring more layers. That's good. Yeah, that's good. So should we talk about some of the races that we've been to and enjoyed the last couple of weeks, because we haven't. This is the first podcast in a while.
Well, I've only done Chaudiere. You've been Detroit.
Yeah.
Chaudiere.
Yeah. So it's just been one more. So let's go back to Detroit, because that was the furthest away. Super event. Moved it this year from Belle Isle, the park, back into the downtown part of the city. The track it's a city street. It's tight. There's concrete walls. It's challenging. But you know what? This is among the best run events I have ever been to. It's the volunteers are fantastic. 1,400 of them to be part of this event. All great, all super fantastic. People were really helpful, well organized. The track, it literally goes around the GM headquarters. It's a Chevrolet Detroit Grand Prix presented by Lear. So it goes around the GM headquarters, and the hotel I stayed in is in the headquarters, right in the middle of the track. So you go down the elevator and out the door and you're at the track. It was fantastic.
What is it with IndyCar doing events like that? Because Toronto's similar.
That's great. Yeah. Obviously successful because it's been going since the mid 80s, and it's great. It's cool. There's always a few little massaging things that you do to the track through the weekend and from one year to the next, but it's great.
There was one thing. Should we save them till later?
Okay, that's fine. Okay. I'm just asking.
I have a couple from Chaudiere, but you were telling me that, because I was asking what makes like the volunteers so different. And you were telling me that they have to pay to be a volunteer.
Yes, $20. You pay to be a volunteer. You get more back in free gifts and coupons and restaurant gift certificates, all that kind of stuff than it costs. But it gives people a reason to be invested. So it's a terrific program. They were really great. Had a super fun weekend. The first time ever in IndyCar, they had a double-sided pit lane. Half the cars on one side, half the cars on the other, and they all funneled down into a single lane to exit. Everybody navigated it fine, but it was really cool to look at. I had a great, if you check out my Instagram, there's a couple of good photos of the cars coming right at you, because that's where our PA announce booth was positioned. It's really it's really cool. It was really a super event though. Really enjoyed it. Great time. What
breaks my brain is I forget how close Detroit is to Canada. Yeah. It's like, because, and you'd think it was the IndyCar race that sparked it. No, it was the Taylor Swift concert there last weekend. That's why I was like, because every single person I know went to the Detroit one. Sure. And I'm like, y'all are just expensive, like dishing out. But no, it's like you spend a night in Detroit or Windsor and you just hop over. Easy.
And that was it. The tunnel from Windsor to Detroit and vice versa, of course, comes out right by the GM headquarters in the hotel, right by the track. Yeah, it's super easy. Yeah, it was great. Super event. Yeah, really,
I need to go to more events in Detroit.
Highly recommend. Yeah. So it was really good. Had a great time, and fingers crossed that I'll get to go back again next year. But everybody was really happy and had a lot of fun. Good racing.
We'll hear about your food stories after.
Sure. Okay. So we'll get to the food stories later, and I'm sure both have. I only have one story for Chaudiere, but that's okay. But we should get to that race as well, because another terrific event. Everybody was a little worried about the weather. Held off. It was terrific. I was a little concerned that they went back to doing a 300 lap race. Is it going to be a little rough? Oh. It wasn't. I thought everything went pretty smoothly during the race.
I think it's probably, I've only been to Chaudiere maybe like 3-4 times. I think it was the most well-run Chaudiere race.
And let me tell you,
I was going to say, I like that because if you've never been to Chaudiere, it's on a hill, but like in the gully of the hill.
The valley.
And
yes.
Same shit, different.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And in past years, they've had the supporting series would come down the main hill and drive through our paddock.
That's right.
And it was a pain in the ass because it made our paddock so dangerous. And you'd be constantly yelling at fans to get out of the way. And you'd always have to have your head on a swivel. But this year, I think what they did is they brought everybody down into the pit area where we used to put the pits.
Yes.
And they just stayed out of there and worked out of there. And it was so much more organized.
Yeah.
So I really hope they do that going forward.
It was real. No, you're right. And good of you to mention that, because I think it worked out really well for everybody. But I got to tell you too, standing on the front straightaway before the race and just looking up at the grandstands. Oh, absolutely packed. It was fantastic. Yeah, so good.
And and it wouldn't have been like that if it had been raining. It would have been so busy, but it's like it was absolutely packed.
And not just people sitting in place and stuff, but when their driver did something well or made a pass for position, people were standing up and cheering and like fist pumping in the air. I mean, just watching that from the other side, it was something to see. And it was just that kind of enthusiasm and passion. I mean, that's what I think we have a good slice of in our bodies and brains. But it's really nice to see it come out in other people too. Just, and it's not even for a race win. It's like, this is in the middle of the race. Somebody makes a pass and they're jumping up and cheering. I love that. It was awesome. Yeah.
I mean, so I will say, I normally don't see a lot of Todd at the racetrack when we're actually in the race, because he's either down and I'm like infield and I'm outfield, but the infield and outfield are the same here.
Yeah.
But we ran into each other a lot this past race.
Yeah, we did.
Because I think it was 3 cars, two within like 2 minutes of each other, came like flying into the pits on fire.
That's why we signed the waiver. Yeah.
Yeah, literally. Which I've never seen that before. It was crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and everyone got out under their own power. I know I saw you interviewing Donald Teach. He was not happy.
No, well, who would be happy with your car going up in smoke at one point? So, it's unfortunate. That is what happens sometimes, is things break or things malfunction and put you out of the race. You don't often see big billowing clouds of smoke or actual flames underneath the car, but everybody stopped as soon as it's like, hey, there's a fire. You jump out, and everybody was fine. There was no immediate danger or anything. That was good. Safety crews are all over it with fire extinguishers. It was fine. The one fact, I think it was in Donald Teage's car, the crew put a 360-degree camera inside the car, an onboard camera. It was still running after he got out, and it was covered in the powder from the fire extinguishers. So yeah, it was pretty cool.
I would love to see that on board. Holy wait, was it in the car, like on him?
It was in the car. With the 360 camera, so you see the full spectrum. So I'm sure there will be shots of it during the race broadcast.
Oh my god, yeah, I'm gonna have to watch that this weekend. Holy moly. Yeah. That is, gosh, man, Joel needs to post that on Instagram.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So yeah, but racing was good. We had the string broken of Trayton Lapsevich winning races. It was Marc-Antoine Cameron who raced and won. And apparently, though, there's a bit of a how should we say it, a discrepancy found in post-race inspection that is going to cost him championship points. Now we'll see if there's an appeal and what the process does. But currently, if it stands, pending all appeals and stuff, that's going to knock him down to a tie for 5th place in the championship.
I hadn't done the math yet, so that's good to know. I'm sure I'll get the point standings at some point. But yeah, that happened.
It did. And if you're cheating, you deserve to be penalized. Well, again, we'll wait and go through. It's like the court system, you wait and go through all the appeals and stuff, and we'll see what comes of it. But I have no problem if someone goes afoul of the rules, getting docked and dinged. It's a tough spot do you take the victory away? I don't know. You've already done the whole thing. They pay the price in terms of championship points and stuff.
Well, I think in terms of the rule book, there is a certain, and I don't know it, and I'm trying to speak as little on it as possible because I am technically NASCAR, but I think there is like a certain infraction level. He only got a P4 penalty, I believe, a level 4 penalty. Correct. So there's a certain level of penalty in which your win is taken away.
Gotcha. Okay. So again, this was for suspension parts, basically, is how how the brackets were mounted or something to that effect. So, but it's if you're caught, I have no problem if you're trying to, rub up against the rules and be right on the line. It happens in professional sports of all kinds.
Happens in
baseball,
NASCAR,
football.
national, all the time.
Well, yeah, but and that's what I mean. Like, I have no problem if you're trying to work in the gray area or stretch. But if you go outside, you get caught, and you should get penalized, and you should get hammered for it. I have no issue with that at all. So we'll see what comes of this one, though. But if it stands, it's going to have a big effect on Mark's championship point standings.
Yeah, I can't say anything on it.
I know you're kind of in a position where you can't. Well,
I'm in a gray area
because you're in a gray. Very good. But this is also, it's the process is still underway as well, because the penalty has been imposed, and then there is the right to appeal the penalty. So we'll have to wait until this is all finalized in who knows how long. Hopefully a fairly quick manner, because we'll be back in a week and going to Newfoundland, as we talked about, and hopefully seeing icebergs and some great racing and cool people, and having some
Mark's
good times
the reigning race winner there too. So
yes, he is. So yeah, I don't know.
That happened.
We will wait and see. There is a race that is taking place in the province of Quebec coming up, and that is, of course, the Formula One Grand Prix on Ile Notre Dame. and I will not be there this year. It's sad. It's been a few years.
It's so expensive right now.
It is.
I remember paying on StubHub for my ticket back in 2019, and it was like $130 easy. And that was GA. It was
I was going to say that is the bare bones to get in. Like, I don't think you could do that anymore.
I think they still do GA, but
probably, but not for that price.
No, God, no. And because it's like, I looked, not for that price. And it's like, and I remember looking last year and it being like $800 for GA.
Yeah.
And last year it was because it was the first year back since COVID.
Sure, of course.
But we're still talking like $400 for GA.
Oh, sure. And here's the other part with, getting a general admission ticket. You and I are greatly privileged in that we get incredible access to races that we go to because we work there. I have a hard time going and sitting in the seats for a Formula One race or an IndyCar race or a NASCAR race. Yeah, it's just because we get such tremendous access and closeness to the participants in the track, and we literally stand on the track for, well, not while they're racing, but at other times during the race, and that is hard to give up. I mean,
I remember when I was in Daytona this year, my friends and we got tickets to go up and watch the Xfinity race, and we're sitting there and we're watching and all this stuff, and I'm like, I'm so fucking bored. It's like I'm cold. It's like I'm watching the race. I'm watching it on TV, but it's like being down in the pits. It's like you're still watching it on TV for the most part, but there's just a buzz that just kind of gets injected into you, and it's like it's like going to Daytona again next year. It's like I'm bringing my boyfriend, and it's do I get us grandstand tickets because that's the experience? But I want to be in the pits.
Well, and over the years too, people have asked and said, do you like working? Do you like doing what you do? Have you considered, moving to another role in a broadcast or whatever? And I do. I've done PA announcing at different events, and I don't stand in pit lane to do that. You're in a trailer or a booth or something. And it's not the same being in the middle of the action. Sometimes it's the worst view of what is happening out on the track. And you're right, you're looking for a screen or a phone or something to try to see a video, but you are right in the middle of what is happening. And it's like you're living and breathing and feeling it. And that is a special feeling every time.
It is magic. It is absolutely, and especially at big tracks like Montreal or Daytona or like any like massive, big important events or tracks even. It's like same with GP3R and stuff.
And that's the great thing about having access to the garage and to the paddock areas of tracks, like whether it's GP3R or something. Just you buy a ticket, you get in. And it was the same in Detroit. If you had a grandstand ticket, you had access to the paddocks, which is great because you get in and you get a real sense of what these cars look like up close, and you can see people working on them stuff. So that's it's an experience that's hard to translate. And I'm trying to think of ways that we can bring it closer to the audience so they can experience and feel it just a little bit. And I'm not sure how to do that, because it's not a feeling of speed when you see the cars on the track, but it's just the electricity that's running through the area as the event is going on.
Right. Because it is a balance, because there is the balance between not impeding the work that's going on.
Yes.
Which happens at some tracks.
Yes.
Where you're getting in the way of the people that are trying to do their jobs and tech and the crew members and all that stuff. And then completely shutting it down, which I find F1 is a lot like.
Oh, yeah. It's funny. The access is incredibly strict for Formula One. I've had it before because I've worked a few of races in Montreal, and they give you, you get the credential that looks like a credit card, and you hold it up to a turnstile reader. If it goes green, the turnstile moves, you go through and you get in. If it doesn't, you go no further. And I have seen people turned away that, It's like, I got the card. It's like, yeah, I don't care. You're not going any further until you get this rectified. Yeah, it's very serious.
Yeah,
but
it's like airport security.
It is. It is like it's like it's like airport security. I haven't seen anyone actually wrestle the way, but that's that would be something. So yeah, so but it's great. It's a tremendous event. If you do get the opportunity to go, it's well worth it. If you're and even if it's not the Formula One Grand Prix in Montreal, getting out and going and seeing an event at a track, a local track in your neighborhood, it's a great time. It's a fun event. You can bring the family usually for a reasonable cost if you want to go that route, but it's just it's an exciting live event, and the speed and the sound and all the rest of it, it's worth it.
Yeah, even your local dirt tracks, it's like those are some of the best action around. It's like I remember getting into racing and not knowing there was a dirt track like 20 minutes from my house, and then my mom and my stepdad started going when I was living at home for college, and then I moved back and they're like, do you want to come to Brockville Speedway tonight? And I was like, sure, go. Amazing race. Your facilities are, you're at a local short track or dirt track, sorry.
Sure.
But it was insane. It was so much, and it was exhilarating and fun. And it's like, I find the closer you get sometimes to grassroots racing and like that kind of racing, the more it kind of invigorates me. And it's like, oh my God, this is awesome. When you get all the way up to the top, you're kind of just like, this is
has
so
a different
routine.
Feel. Yeah, I don't know if I don't know if I describe it as routine, but
maybe
it's
not
different. It's because the stakes are higher and the money is bigger. It's as you go closer to entry level grassroots, it's the feel of the passion and genuine love of it that people, this is why we got into it. And it's just, we do this, we don't do it for a living. We don't make money. In fact, it costs us money, but this is what we love. This is what we enjoy. It's a part of our life. It's a part of our culture and our family and our friends. And this is what we do. And I admire that, the dedication that is necessary to be there every weekend. And
I wonder if I'm
glad they do it. Thank you.
I wonder if it's more the sense of community. You feel closer to the sense of community when you're at a grassroots track than when you're at a cup track. Because you're right. It is that passion and that the dedication to it, which is what invigorated me into racing, was the fans and the community and the passion in it. So when you spend too much time at the top, not that Pinty's is anywhere near the top, but your perspective changes because it becomes, well, in your case and mine too, it's your job, it's your work, it becomes stale. It's not I say that because that's how it is starting to feel for me. And that's because it's like I am going through my own struggles with like, what do I want to do? Figuring that out of like, it's just the excitement is there less and less. It's like I've been here before, I've done this before. It is that routine. So it's like mixing it up. And it's like you do the big events and it's like, oh, I'm excited to get back to GP3R, CTMP. And you learn, my hope is that I learn to, I guess, appreciate it more. And it is different enough from week to week that I'm not just kind of on a treadmill, if that makes sense.
So, you don't want to lose that love, that enjoyment, that fun, that passion, that, of course. And if you are following your hobby or vocation into a work relationship, it can be tough to balance the two because you don't want to. I'll give you a bit of a goofy example, but I think it fits. So when I'm able and at my place, I'll go to the gym, and my reward is I get to go for a swim for a couple of laps just to get in the water and get refreshed afterwards. I thought, oh, well, I kind of like swimming, and maybe I should make that part of my fitness regimen because swimming is so good for you. It's a whole body workout and stuff. I think I tried it once, did about 5 laps and said, I hate this. It's taking the fun and the joy and the pleasure out of it. So I shifted back to what I usually do, go to the gym. It's just, I don't want to lose that pleasure, that joy, that reward I get, and why I like it so much.
Right. And I
think this is the same thing.
Yeah. And we've talked about it before of the passion you feel in racing and like having it from time to time. But there's also the problem where it's like when you get in that routine, you're right, it just sucks the fun out of it. And you're not sitting there in the moment. Whereas if it becomes more sparse and, this isn't a regular thing you do, or you're away from it for a little bit, then you like the absence makes the heart grow fonder, maybe. Like, I don't know.
Often, yes, true.
But yeah,
right. It becomes, but if you're going to a different race every weekend, it's just, it's hard to get that absence. It's hard to miss the great joy that you're having, for sure.
Yeah. So,
yeah. Okay, good. Maintain that perspective. Well, I will do my best to help you, because yes, but
it's why I'm also excited for this weekend.
Right.
Exactly. Because I've never been to an APC race before, Todd.
Yeah, there
Besides,
you go.
like backing up with Pinties.
So there you go. See, we get to go and experience that and have some fun doing that. So this is, and maybe that's it too, is just go as a fan. Don't go as something that you have to work at. So yeah. Okay. Let's get to food stories. I want to talk about food. It's dinner hour and I'm getting hungry. So
somebody in my house is cooking and it smells freaking amazing. It's like all I smell is garlic and spices and I'm starving now.
That's a good start. Okay. So the Detroit food stories. My pal, Big Jim, who I was working with, Big Jim does a morning show on WCSX in the Motor City, told me a couple of places, and we went out one night and we went to have Mexican food at Mi Pueblo. And I said, Mexican food in Detroit, really? He said, trust me, it's great, it's great. And he used to live in Texas, and it's like, okay.
So he probably knows.
So he knows. Well, we went and it did not disappoint. So fantastic. Just everything, the chicken, the beef, it has that spice, that flavor. It was delicious and wonderful and fantastic. So really good. The other one is, of course, and I love pizza, and it's like, you're Detroit. I want Detroit, deep dish pizza. And he said, yes, you got to go to Buddy's for deep dish pizza. So I leave my hotel,
which is in the middle of the track.
Is in the middle of the track. And this is Sunday night. So the race is over and I can get out of the parking garage and leave my hotel. So I go and I make the 10-minute, 12-minute drive to go to Buddy's to pick up a takeout order. Great. No problem. Grab it in the car, start driving back. Well, of course, most of the roads are still closed and the teardown is already well underway, but I can't get from where my Google Maps is telling me to go to get into my hotel. So I've got to try to find my way around. And it's like, okay. So I end up going way off in one direction and I'm kind of wiggling my way around and it's like I can see where I need to go, but I haven't quite figured out how to get there yet. So I'm kind of navigating my way through and I come around. I was like, oh, hey, wait a minute. That's the IndyCar paddock straight ahead. And I've got a parking pass for the garage inside the track that I'm going to. So I start driving through the paddock and it's just like security people are waving me through. It's like, you got to pass, you're fine. So I am driving through the paddock. I go through turn 8, out onto the racetrack, down towards corner number 7. So I'm driving on the track and driving backwards, as several people did during qualifying, by the way. But I turn into the parking garage and I'm back. Took about an hour, but I did find my way through.
Was the pizza worth it?
100%. Absolutely tremendous. Really, just deep dish, pepperoni cooked and cheese, and it was magnificent. So yeah, Buddy's Pizza, it's worth the trip.
I've heard from a couple of people that said we need to start making a list.
Sure, no problem.
A reoccurring list, so we keep track of all the places we're saying.
Do we need
to
like
go
an Excel spreadsheet of all the food
I'm
places?
on it.
Okay,
I'm on it.
There you go.
You want me to touch Excel? You want me to Google spreadsheets? I'm there.
Yeah,
Love
no problem.
Google.
Go for it. You can start. So I'll send you the list. Yeah, but that's good. So all right. And for Chaudiere, I only have one story, and it's the usual trip that we make to the concession stand at the Autodrome Chaudiere for Chanchot and poutine, which was
I forgot to get the poutine this year.
Good.
Dang it.
Really good.
I usually get the poutine at Chaudiere, and I completely forgot.
Oh, you missed out. You'll have to go back.
Well,
yeah, it was great.
My food story was Stephanie, our series coordinator, and I went into, she'd never been to Old Town, Quebec City before. So we went down, checked it out, walked around, got dinner at this place, Bistro 1640, right down by the Fairmont in like that little square area.
Beautiful.
Amazing. It was so good. She got a cocktail that was just it was so good. I got a nice red wine from France because I was like, I'm in France right now. I'm in France.
Good.
We got she got a soup. She loved it. I got French onion soup, as I do.
Yeah.
I have my grief with the French onion soup. It's not the best I've had.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's disappointing.
The best I've had is the one that's at the end of my street. So I was like, okay, I've had better, but once you've had the best, it's hard to top it. But it was still great. Like, still very much enjoyed it. And then we got a pizza to split, and this pizza, it was such a good pizza, Todd. It was so good. It had sesame seeds on the crust, and God, it had tomatoes and red onions and hot honey sauce and
nice.
prosciutto, and it was so good. And then we ended up walking down the hill a little bit, like off to the I guess like north Old Quebec City, where all the bars and stuff are. Found
experience. Good.
Found the only place that was open that was selling fresh macarons, because I love my French macarons. Got a croissant, latte, macarons.
Beautiful.
I need to go to France.
Well done.
Yes.
Yeah, I can see how that would be inspiring. Very good.
Yeah, and then went for a walk and sipped our lattes. So I'm sure we'll have a plethora of food stories when we come back from Newfoundland. All the seafood.
There will be fish and seafood involved. 100%.
So excited. Fish tacos, fish and chips.
Yeah. Let's go. All right. The disclaimer: the thoughts, ideas, opinions, and restaurant reviews and the Racin It Out podcast are those of Caitlin and Todd. They do not represent the views, nor should they be considered to imply the views of NASCAR, IndyCar, Green Savory, Detroit Grand Prix, APC, Rev TV, anybody else that we might work with, might think about working with, want to work with, but haven't yet, but may at some point in the future. How's that?
That's a great one, because of course NASCAR doesn't think some pizza place in Detroit's great. Why would anybody ever think that?
Hey, it's great. Buddy's Pizza. It's awesome. All right. That'll wrap it up, I guess. Right. Looking forward to we'll go to Peterborough for some APC, and then we'll have the Pinty series in Newfoundland. We're scouring the country for food and racing.
Yes, that's all this podcast is about.